Hello and welcome to the Man Games. This is the podcast show. Is the Man
And the wife.
podcast. We are reviewing last night's Extreme Rules, the horror show, or the horror show Extreme Rules, whichever way around you meant to say it. So, all in all, what did you think to the pay-per-view before we go into it in more detail?
I enjoyed it actually. I thought it had a bit of a stupid name. Why is it called the horror show? Just because of...
Well, I think because of the Swamp match and because of the Eye versus an Eye match.
Right, okay. I just felt like it was, they thought it was Halloween, but it's not quite. That's what if you
Yeah,
feel
I've got
like.
that in my notes. So we'll skip ahead a little bit too. There was a Firefly Funhouse segment, and there's like Halloweeny music, and I put like, why didn't they do this in like October, like a horror show themed? WCW used to have Halloween Havoc as a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So either if you want to have this horror show thing, try and fit it in with the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because when you said that Firefly Funhouse segment, and Bray looks like he's got like some sort of kid's Dracula cape on or something. It just made me think of like kids trick-or-treating or something. So yeah, I think didn't quite get the whole horror show elements, because it wasn't as if every match was
A stipulation.
Yeah, and that sort of stipulation anyway. Like, yeah, I think it would have been best, as you said, to go with the seasons and do it in October for Halloween. Especially if this whole lockdown is still on in October. I feel like they'll need more ideas to keep it interesting, and I feel like they wasted that one here.
Yeah, I think they just thought, ooh, this is an idea, we'll use it now.
Yeah. But overall, other than the name of the show, I did actually really enjoy it. How about you?
No, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Also, I'm just trying to think of maybe the only thing I didn't really like was maybe the ending to the show, but obviously we'll get into that in more detail later on.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, there were a few bits that I was a bit on, but...
I don't think there was actually a bad match on the show, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree. Yeah, there was no match that I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Get this over with. But, yeah.
So the show starts, and it is very 3D heavy straight away. I wrote down loads of...
But it seemed to be only that beginning of the match, though.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any more after that, was there?
It's the New Day, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there was Frasco, I think, when she came out.
Oh, yeah, with their mask and that.
Yeah, but the opening, there just seemed to be so much 3D on the screen. I'm not really a fan of it, really.
Yeah.
So the first match was the tables match between the New Day and I know you want to say Sheamus and Cesaro, but it's not. It is Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro.
Yeah, so if I'm going to start with this, this is actually my match with the least amount of notes, I think. And I would say it was the match I got least into out of all of them.
Really?
I wouldn't say it was a bad match. I just didn't get into it as much as the others. And it's really funny because in our previous podcasts that we've done, I always enjoyed the opening match the most. And I often think, is that just because I'm not, it's the opening match, so I'm quite more invested or I'm quite more into it or awake or whatever. But this morning, because obviously we didn't watch it on the night, we wake up in the morning and watch it. It was I just didn't get into it as much. Maybe the coffee hadn't kicked in or whatever. But once again, wasn't a bad match. I just didn't fully get invested. What about you?
No, I really enjoyed it. This match went 10 minutes and 25 seconds. So there is new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura won this match.
Did you think that they would win?
No.
No?
No.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Because New Day haven't had the belts that long, have they?
No, they won just after Mania.
Yeah. So I was surprised that Shinsuke and Cesaro won. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's good that they won the titles, but I do have in my notes, like, Shinsuke and done it again, said Sheamus. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura should be doing so much better things in WWE.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Cesaro especially is somebody they just keep throwing in, with all these tag teams. He was with Tyson Kidd and then Sheamus and then obviously Shinsuke Nakamura.
Is with Jack Swagger at one point.
Yeah, so I feel like he has potential to maybe.
Did he tag team with Rusev at one point as well? Maybe.
Probably. I mean, is there anybody who he hasn't tag team with? That is the question, isn't it? And I mean, same with same with Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, he was just in NXT. He was amazing, wasn't he? And then he gets called up, and then what? Really?
He did win the Royal Rumble.
He did, and I just feel like I thought he was going to be a top tier kind of guy from his run in NXT.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been at all, in my eyes, anyway.
Oh no, I completely agree. I think his best match since coming to NXT/WWE was his first match against Sami Zayn at NXT Dallas, which you probably won't remember because it was so long ago.
Probably not. I don't remember it. But I do remember, like, just him being in NXT. I mean, I'm not very good at remembering specific matches like you are, but I always remember enjoying watching his matches and his persona and his character and everything like that. So I think, obviously, WWE dropped the ball with him when they came up. But anyway, so back to the match. As I said, I haven't got many notes on it, but I did have about Cesaro's got doing that military press, and he's lifting Kofi up off his head. They kind of dropped him. It looked like he botched it a little bit.
Yeah, it was a bit botchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big E hit a nice spear to the outside onto Cesaro. The commentators were saying, or the announcement team, were saying, "Oh, it nearly went through the table." It didn't really.
No, nowhere near. But there's a spot where Big E is laying on the ropes, and Shinsuke and Cesaro are both like kick him in the head.
Yeah.
To see that looked brutal. And then when you see Shinsuke Nakamura get the table out on the side, on the outside
and
of the ring,
struggling to put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
So the match finished with, it was like a power bomb through two tables onto Kofi Kingston.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good spot to end the match. To be fair,
it was a very good spot to end the match. I find these. I'm sorry, I'm very croaky today. I find these matches, when it's like putting them through the tables, it's a lot more about suspense than anything else. It's like, oh, are they going to get it? Oh, are they going to get it?
Yeah.
So there's actually not a lot of big spots as much as there would normally be, obviously. And I'm thinking maybe the suspense wasn't there as much as it normally is, and maybe that's why I wasn't as invested.
Maybe.
I didn't honestly believe at some points, like, when you're like, oh, I definitely think he's going to do that. I didn't believe it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So, yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro win the tag team championships. They go over to the commentary table and say, "We said we were going to do it." Cesaro slams his tag team title on the table and says, "We said we were going to do this, and we have done this." I think they're playing more off about the commentators because with there being not as many fans, they can hear what they're saying in the ring.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So they're
playing off that more.
Yeah, which I think, I like that because it's like sort of true to what's happening. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just sort of like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when they were walking to the back and Cesaro picks the table up and him and Shinsuke sit on it, I did think, God, if this breaks, it's going to be brutal.
How funny would that be?
Yeah, because them tables, it doesn't take a lot for them to break unless you Sasha Banks. So next up is a backstage promo with the Kabuki Warriors with Nikki Cross and Bliss. They're motivating Nikki Cross, saying she can do this.
Yeah, giving her lots of positive affirmations, aren't they? Yeah.
I did think after this segment, I thought, is Alexa Bliss going to turn on Nikki Cross here? I did think that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the next match is for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It is Bayley defending against Nikki Cross. She obviously has Sasha in her corner and Nikki has Alexa Bliss in her corner.
I really enjoyed this match. I sometimes feel like Nikki, since coming up to the main roster, has been made of a bit of a joke.
Yeah, no, agree.
And I feel like this match, she looked great. I mean, obviously, spoiler, I know she didn't win, but I still thought she, you were able to see her wrestling more than it being.
She got to showcase what she can do.
That's what I was trying to say. I'm so sorry. Yeah. You could see what she could do, and it wasn't all about her being a best friend with somebody or this or that. She got to showcase what a great wrestler she is, because she is a great wrestler.
I feel like the annoying thing about Nikki Cross is she got called up and then wasn't given the character that she was in NXT, which everyone loved. It
just didn't make any sense. It's like, oh, we're going to call you up, we're going to change you completely so no one knows who you are, and you don't know what to do with yourself.
Like, at one point in NXT, they thought there was like a tease that she was the person that attacked Aleister Black when no one knew
who attacked him.
Yeah, she was like in the main event scene, and it's like.
And she comes up and be best friends with Alexa Bliss. Doesn't make sense.
But her first match on SmackDown, we were there when she fought Becky Lynch. That was probably the best SmackDown match she's had since getting up onto the main roster, maybe, in my opinion.
Yeah. I thought when Bayley came down to the ring, she reminded me a bit of a Power Ranger in her get-up.
Oh, really?
I don't know why. That was the first thing I thought of. Was like,
who was the Purple Ranger?
I don't know.
Yeah, because there wasn't one.
I just meant, it just reminded me. I didn't say she was a Power Ranger. I just said she reminded me of a Power Ranger. That's what came into my head. Okay?
Yes, darling.
If I write it down, I say it. That's.
Well, my notes are, how good are Bayley and Nikki Cross in this match?
Yeah, they are great.
Nikki Cross, like we said before, she gets a lot of offense in. There's a lot of moves. She did a nice tornado DDT onto the outside.
Just before that, she did a good neck breaker as well.
Yeah, that was good also. So at one point, she goes through the ring, underneath the ring to the other side.
Yeah, so it looks like Bayley sort of gets her caught in the banner, doesn't she, and starts attacking her. And then Bayley sort of turns around and starts showboating or something, and that's when she goes underneath the ring, and that was brilliant. I thought that was good. I like that Nikki mocks the old Bayley as well. You see that when she was doing the whoa.
How good did Sasha Banks look wearing all the gold around the belt? I thought.
Yeah, she looks. Yeah.
Sasha Banks has been so much better since she's been on SmackDown, in my opinion.
I agree, because when Sasha first got called up, and when she was in NXT, I loved her, and I can remember being at the Royal Rumble in 2016, and when she came out, and it was just mint, and just seeing her then, and then I feel like she had a good run there, and then it sort of dropped off a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I'm loving her again, absolutely loving her again. So towards the end of the match, Sasha distracts the ref, and then she goes and gives Bayley her boss ring, and then Bayley hits Nikki in the kidney stomach area for the win. So yeah, keeping her SmackDown Women's Championship. Yeah,
I kind of wish, Alexa Bliss had turned on Nikki Cross in a way, just to. I feel like Alexa Bliss is a bit wasted now.
Yeah.
Not just Alexa Bliss, but I don't really think them two need to be a team anymore. I don't really get why they ever were a team. To me, they can split up now and
it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
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 Because
they don't need.
Sorry, Hugo.
Obviously, they need tag teams because they've got a division with only 2 proper teams. Well, maybe 3, but.
But they're taking it over to NXT now as well, aren't they?
Well, yeah, true.
They're letting them.
I would love to see Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart win the women's tag team titles.
Yeah, I think the next time the championships move, the tag teams, it should go down at NXT just to make it a bit more interesting.
Yeah. And they're always wanting things to help their war with AEW on a Wednesday night.
That's it, yeah.
That'll probably help.
And then that also gives the option for other. I don't know if other people agree with me on this. But obviously, as Sasha and Bayley went down to NXT to defend their championships down there, if a tag team win it in NXT, does that not mean other Raw and SmackDown superstars can come and try and take it off them in just bringing that sort of pull as well? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So next up was the Firefly Funhouse segment, which we spoke about at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, so where Bray Wyatt looks like he's in some sort of Halloween get-up.
Just promoting the main event, really.
Yeah, that's really it, promoting the main event. Not much I'll say about that, really.
No, next up there was MVP coming to the ring with Lashley.
Well, before that, can we say about the announcers were saying that
Apollo Crews had been
injured,
by Lashley.
so he couldn't compete. So so we found that out first, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then MVP came down to the ring.
He was there, even though we didn't see him. He was there, medically cleared to wrestle. No, sorry, not medically cleared to wrestle there. That's what they said.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah.
So if he was there, why wasn't he on camera?
Because he wasn't really there, was he?
Wow. Yeah.
So
yeah, MVP claiming he wins his new design of the United States Championship by forfeit.
Yeah, he grabs the belt and leaves. So.
What? No, sorry, you go on.
I was going to say, why was Apollo not actually there? Do you know?
I would have thought it'd be some coronavirus related situation. That's what makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. Fair enough. I wasn't sure if you'd read some news somewhere or something.
No.
Okay.
What do you think of the pairing between MVP and Lashley?
Oh, I love it. I think it's they just complement each other really, really well. The only thing I don't like is I don't think MVP should be wrestling or with a belt. I think he does a better job of a
as a manager.
Yeah, as a manager, that's what I was going to say. And I think he should stick to that role, personally. But yeah,
unless they became a tag team and won the tag titles.
Yeah, I guess.
Because if they're like.
But then I feel like if they become a tag team and win the tag titles, I thought they were looking at like pushing Bobby Lashley to become like a main eventer.
Yeah, no, but you can think of the bigger picture there.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay.
Like if they won the tag team titles from the Street Profits, and then they beat the Street Profits, they beat the Viking Raiders, they beat. Is there another tag team on Raw? Angel Garza and Andrade.
Okay. Yep.
Clutching at straws here.
That's about it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and then maybe there's some dissension, the split up, and then Lashley looks like a bigger, better star at the end of it, and then
maybe.
An idea.
Yeah, okay. I really like what MVP's doing with his as a manager. As a manager, I think he's just doing such a good job, and I'm really enjoying watching that. So I don't really want him to become a tag team.
Yeah, I get that. I just think like the tag division on Raw. Well, on SmackDown, to be fair, is really struggling.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Maybe like two main stars teaming to win the tag titles would maybe be better. Because like, where was the tag? I know Dawkins has just had a kid. That's why he's not been on wrestling. But
yeah, fair enough. Okay, I can see where you're going with that. In sort of making sense for my personal enjoyment. I would rather watch that. And then we had some ads. I just put ads. I don't know what they were for.
Probably WWEshop.com or the Hyundai was the car advert at one point.
Oh, Hyundai.
Hyundai, yeah.
Yeah. Then we came into the third match of the night, which was the Eye for an Eye match with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. Obviously, it started off with a video package, sort of explaining the storyline.
It was a really good video package, I thought.
It was a good video package. My question is, what did you think to the idea of this match? Like the whole.
I didn't really understand how the ending of the match was going to work. I thought it was going to be very, very over the top blood wise and.
Sorry.
I thought it was going to be very over the top blood wise, maybe a bit like hokey in a way.
Yeah.
I was really worried there's going to be like a fake eye that pops out of Ray's mask or something and he's walking around with his eye in his hand. I thought it was going to be something like that. So, ending wise, it was probably better than
you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't as
comical.
Yeah.
In a way.
I thought the ending part might have been, what's the word? What was the main event? Cinematic match. I thought the ending part might be
bit cinematic.
Yeah, a bit cinematic. Yeah.
And they got at the back end.
Yeah.
I thought the idea of it was a stupid match. Like, why? How does this work long term if you're gonna pull somebody's eye out? You know, why would you want to pull somebody's eye? I didn't like the idea. I just thought it was a bit stupid.
Apparently,
really.
Rey Mysterio is working under no contract at the moment. Like, he doesn't actually have a contract, so it might be a way to write him off TV.
Oh, I do get that, but I mean, I just thought, how does this work long term? But obviously, they sort of patched up a bit and we'll talk about that later on. So I just thought it was a stupid idea, but the match in itself, I actually really enjoyed.
Well, I enjoyed. I thought, obviously, you didn't see the Slammiversary pay-per-view was on yesterday, which I watched for the first time. I watched an Impact Wrestling pay-per-view since 2014, I think it is. And in that match, there was Tommy Dreamer against Moose, and the Moose slams Tommy Dreamer's face into a load of tacks.
Oh!
And the commentators are saying about it getting in his eye. And I was just thinking, like, what is the deal with people and eyes at the moment? You had John Moxley and Chris Jericho, and Jericho blinded Moxley, and then now we've got Moose and Tommy Dreamer doing something similar, and then here we've got Ray and Seth doing an eye for an eye match. It's like,
oh, I'm glad I didn't watch that.
There's been not all these matches for years, and
yeah, they all do them all together.
Yeah, in around 6 months or so.
Yeah. So I thought it was really funny when Seth came out and he had pliers, and I think,
well, they weren't even they were grips. They weren't pliers.
Yeah, well, they said pliers.
Oh no, I get that. I was just
whatever he had, the grips, the pliers. How is that going to pull an eye out? You need something that's got a hook in it or something, doesn't it? Like, that is not going to pull an eye out.
So you should have come out with a fishing rod.
Well, not a fishing rod, but just something else. I don't know. I just feel like you couldn't get an eye out with that. But anyway, starting off the match, so Seth comes down with his pliers that aren't pliers, and then we hear Rey Mysterio's music hits, but then he surprises Seth from behind and starts attacking him. What is Rey's ring gear? So I know he usually does a theme, doesn't he? What was his theme?
A luminous paint.
It was just weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
I did not like it personally. Yeah,
I didn't mind it. I just didn't pick up whether it was meant to be some sort of that gimmick. Character.
I don't know, but anyway, I personally didn't like it. I thought at first with the yellow and the grey it was a bit like old school Batman, but then I realised it wasn't. But anyway,
yellow and grey. When was the Batman ever yellow?
The old school sort of Batman stuff. He had the yellow.
He had a yellow utility belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he didn't wear yellow then, did he?
No, but I'm saying there was the yellow and grey sort of remind. Anyway.
Thinking of Banana Man or something.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking of old school Batman. The really old ones, on television.
Yeah, like Adam West.
Bam! Yeah. Okay. Let's move past that. We're getting.
Just because you don't know what Batman is.
I do know what Batman is. He used to wear black and grey.
No, he didn't. He used to wear grey, blue, and then he had a yellow utility belt.
Anyway, it did. All I thought was, it just reminded me of that. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw it. Okay.
You thought about something I didn't have nothing to do with.
Shut up. That's just what came into my mind. All right. So. Anyway, I thought it was really funny when Ray goes outside the ring and he goes under the ring to grab a table out, and conveniently, for the first time ever, there's a toolbox sat on the table as he pulls it out. Thought that was really funny.
Yeah, it's strange how it's never happened.
I know.
Seth hits a Falcon Arrow onto the ring apron. That was a really good spot of the match.
Yeah, Ray gets thrown by Seth and he slides like a penguin outside the ring onto a table. You see that? Yeah. That was good.
I did like when Ray trips Seth up and his eye catches the edge of the announcer's table. I thought that was a real clever spot.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, that wouldn't take your eye out, but...
No. And
I think it was a very inventive spot there.
It was, but I did think how many times have people hit their head on that thing and no one's thought, oh, his eye's going to come out.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Just to be a little bit negative there.
And same when Seth puts a kendo stick in the corner and as it sticked up.
That was good.
Yeah, they've done that before though, but not one point I thought, ooh, they might take someone's eye out of this.
Yeah. Was there another thing that they did that was something similar, I think it was some metal bar and they...
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. It was like a little metal stick or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a really good frog splash by Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
And then he smashes Seth into the barricade. And then, is this what you were talking about? The penguin side the second time.
This is the second time. It just looks like a strange movie. Dives to the bottom ropes, and just something that I thought looked like a suplex, but I know
it's a bit like a sunset flip, I think, but into the barricade.
Yeah, and he does that twice. And that was really good. And then Ray does a stomp to Rollin outside the ring.
Yeah, that was good.
Mhm.
Then Ray takes off the protective patch of his eye.
So yeah, why did Ray do that?
I think maybe he was showing like Seth, like, look what you've done to my eye, and now I'm gonna do it to you, maybe.
Maybe. But Ray does get Seth's eye into the steel steps. Sorry, steel steps.
They're Batman stamps.
Shut up. Let me start that again. Ray gets no. Yes, Ray gets Seth's eye into the steel steps, and Seth counters by doing like a kickback, low blow. Yeah,
low blow.
Yeah, he does like a kickback, like a donkey. And then Seth then gets Ray's previously injured one eye into the steel steps, and then somehow it just falls out when he's pushing it back in.
Well, Ray's shouting, "I need a doctor! I need a doctor!" So they stop the match, and
yeah. I did. There you go.
No, there was a spot I just thought we missed. At one point, Ray breaks the kendo stick up into pieces, and he's trying to use that to get Seth's eye out. I thought that was quite a good spot as well.
Yeah,
that was just a spot I just remembered that we've got to mention.
Fair enough. So what I did think when this match finished, one, how did the eye pop out from being pushed in? I know you said that we didn't see it or anything. Well, I don't think we did. And my next question was, where's all the blood?
Well, he's got a mask on, so the blood would be pouring into the mask.
No, there was no blood.
He fell from a building onto another building.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. So I did think that, but then I did enjoy Seth Rollins throwing up outside the ring.
Yeah, I think they could have done a better job of him throwing up there.
Okay.
Like, because everything's obviously pre-taped.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to fool the live crowd. It's your own crowd. Do you know what I mean? I thought
Well, what do you mean? How could he have done a better job throwing up?
Well, like maybe quickly eat something and then.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Have a bottle of water and then spit it all out so it looks like sick. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I thought that was pretty spot on, really.
Huh? Well, agree to disagree on that one.
I just think about I don't know if you've ever, when people throw up when they're exercising and stuff like that, it's often just little bits of bile and stuff like that, or it's not a lot, and it is a bit more spitty than rather than being like.
So you're saying he threw up because he was so exhausted from the match?
No, I'm not saying that. But
that's what you're saying. I understand that.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that somebody who is, I felt like it wasn't going to be a big gushing throwing up, because that's not how it, in my eyes, it would have been especially after doing what they've just done. I thought it was accurate, but anyway.
And then in the match, you see Dominic come to help Ray to the back. Why didn't Dominic come and stop Seth from doing this to his father?
Don't know. I did enjoy how the crowd turns on Seth as well.
They don't turn on Seth, they've been on Seth's side.
Well, I mean, not turn on Seth, but they got really
yeah, boo and banging behind.
Yeah, and chanting. Yeah. I'm not sure what they were chanting, something. But yeah, anyway.
So the next part of the show was Bayley cutting a promo backstage saying that Rey Mysterio is one of her best or favourite wrestlers growing up, and it is a right shame now that he won't be able to see her double championships around her waist. So yeah, a pretty cool segue there. Going into the next match, Bayley just remind people she's still Bayley Dose belts, and Sasha saying she's gonna be Banks 2 belts.
Yes. I liked what Sasha was wearing. Sorry, just going into this match.
Oh, 1 second, sorry. Before we go into that, forgot to say Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio went just over 18 minutes, 18 minutes and 5 seconds, and the Bayley and Nikki Cross match went 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
So going into the next match, Asuka versus Sasha Banks for the belts. Love what Sasha's wearing when she comes out. I probably should have said it back at the first match. The second match. But just love her gear at the moment.
I think she definitely puts in more of an effort now than she ever has to stand out and.
Yeah, and I definitely think
unique.
Yeah. I thought she looked brilliant. I did note as well. Why did both women's matches not have any sort of stipulation whatsoever?
Maybe they just didn't feel that the need. Maybe because they were both heelish finishes, a stipulation wouldn't really work. Maybe.
Fair enough. When we did our Extreme Rules podcast that went up yesterday.
From 2016.
That's the one. And we had a discussion on there about Extreme Rules pay-per-views not having
enough
stipulations, or
matches.
when they first started, they always had them, and now they don't. And I just thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
I kind of don't think there's enough stipulations on this pay-per-view myself, personally.
Yeah, I can see that. It wasn't. Yeah, it didn't seem like an extreme rules.
Yeah, as much as the eye for an eye match is a stipulation, it's not really there. Like, it was a really good match that ended with a finish.
Yeah.
In a way.
But anyway, just thought it was interesting. So Asuka starts attacking Sasha on the apron of the ring, stomping her on the chest and knee her in the face. I thought that was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
There was lots. I just thought both women just looked so strong in this. Like Sasha working over Asuka's fingers and arms with submissions, trying to get her to submit. That was really good. There was a point where Sasha does double knees on the second rope, and then onto the mat as well onto Asuka. I have so many notes to this match in terms of spots. I just thought there was just so much going on, and the women just looked really, really good. There's one point when Sasha's in the corner, and Asuka goes to run over from the opposite corner, and Sasha just grabs her and slams her face into the ring buckle, and it just looked awful. Like, I honestly believed it.
Yeah, at one point, I could see Sasha, like, massaging Asuka's arm when they were laid on the mat, and it made me think, shit, has something gone wrong here, and she's checking to make sure she's okay.
Yeah. Everything was just done, what I thought was to perfection. There was this huge German suplex by Asuka.
Asuka and Sasha are probably the best two women in WWE at the moment, currently wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. And the way that they worked with each other, and the way they sold it and everything.
It's just a shame Becky's not around, and even as much as it's a shame in one sense that Charlotte and Becky aren't around, but in another sense it is good because obviously Bayley and Sasha are having more TV time, and they're probably the best thing in WWE at the moment.
Yeah.
But it would have been. Can you imagine having Becky Lynch and Charlotte against Sasha and Bayley?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's just so hot right now, like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I just think.
Do you know why Charlotte is out at the moment?
Yeah, plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Problems.
Well, it's apparently
silicone poisoning.
Yeah.
And she had it before, and she did a quick fix. And now she's going to do something to.
Well, yeah, because it's not been fixed properly. That's why.
Yeah. So there's a point where both women on the top rope, and they jump off, and Sasha does some sort of flip, and I think she's supposed to land on her feet, or I don't know, but she lands on her knees and then does double knees into the corner on Asuka, and then she sort of does like selling that her knee's bad, and then Bayley and Kairi Sane start fighting outside the ring, and then I missed this bit, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but it looked like Sasha was tapping at one point.
Yeah, so she was in the Asuka lock and she was tapping, but Bayley had the referee distracted, I think.
Right, okay, I thought that might have been happening, and then Asuka gets up and goes to do the spray.
The mist. The
green mist into
Banks' face.
But Banks ducks and she gets the referee instead. My first point here is why they're still doing that spot in a pandemic.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree.
I just think it's disgusting. I think it's a gross thing to do anyway normally, but to do it during this time, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so the ref is down and out because he's got this green mist in his face. Bayley comes and strips the referee of his shirt and puts her referee shirts on herself, and she counts 3 for the win for Sasha. So Sasha now is a champion.
Banks 2 belts.
Banks 2 belts. Bayley 2 belts, and I did think it was funny. I didn't realise that qualified you become a referee just by having the shirt on. Yeah,
it's potentially problematic, isn't it?
Yeah, but
apparently on Raw tonight they're going to explain what the deal is.
Fair enough.
But hopefully it's going to lead to another match between Asuka and Banks.
Yeah, hopefully, because it was such a good match, and I think they could definitely carry it on. So overall, yeah, really good match, and I thought both women looked fantastic. And I think after Oscar hasn't had a great reign with the belt, and I do feel sorry that Oscar lost it so quickly, and especially after having such a crappy reign. But I felt at least in this match she looked great, whereas in other matches she hasn't.
Yeah.
When she was against Nia Jax and she just looked pathetic in my eyes.
They're doing what's, I don't want to be like they're doing what's best for business, but Sasha is
what's hot right now.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah, so she needs the belt more than Asuka does.
Yeah, but I appreciate that they at least gave Asuka the chance to look like a proper fighting champion and look like she had a chance rather than it just being a bit of a squash match.
Yeah.
What was that pay-per-view we watched? And it was Nia and Asuka and...
Was it Backlash?
Was it Backlash? Yeah, it was Backlash. And it was a count out and it was just an awful match.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it was, obviously it sort of ended in a weird way again. Or not a clean finish, but Oscar still come off, I thought, looking really, really strong, personally. Yeah. So I really enjoyed it.
So the next match was for the WWE Championship. It was Drew McIntyre.
Can we skip back a few bits?
Blah, 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 blah.
Thank you. We saw Charlie Caruso. She was outside a medical room, updating everyone on Ray's condition. And what they'd said was, if the optical nerve, I think it was, hadn't been severed, that they could replace his eye and he'd be okay. So that is how it can work out long term now, is they're saying that.
Yeah, and if you're concerned, you can go to WWE.com and you will find out what's going on.
So Rey Mysterio will have two eyes next time he's on television. That's what they're saying. Yeah. Go back to your match now.
So the next match was for the WWE Championship.
Drew McIntyre.
Sorry, I've done it again as well. The Sasha and Asuka match went 20 minutes exactly. I don't know why I bother trying to tell you guys the times because I just forget every time. So yeah, Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. The stipulation is it's an Extreme Rules match. The stipulation only applies to Ziggler. McIntyre had to wrestle the match as if it was a singles match. Furthermore, had McIntyre got disqualified or counted out, Ziggler would have won the championship. Now, this match went 15 minutes and 25 seconds. I will say that now before I forget later on. Yeah.
So obviously, it starts off with Ziggler sort of doing his little announcement of the stipulation. Which then, this stipulation gave the announcers so much to talk about because that's all they kept saying was, Drew can't do this and Drew can't do that. And, when they just push something so much, it gets a little bit annoying. I found that with a bit annoying, really.
Yeah, it wasn't even Michael Cole on commentary.
It wasn't either. So
Tom Phillips is like the second coming of Michael Cole there.
Yeah, that's true. So some good spots of the match. Ziggler just attacking Drew with steel chairs. Absolutely beating the hell out of him.
Yeah, he got an almighty low blow early on in the match as well.
He did, yeah. I did notice as well, though, considering that Ziggler could do the Extreme Rules stipulation to Drew McIntyre, when he was attacking Drew with the chairs, I thought Ziggler looks really beaten up himself, like he's got cuts and he's quite red. Obviously, it's because he'd been thrown on the announcer's table and whatnot. But I felt like he looked more beaten up than Drew did, which I thought was quite convenient.
Yeah. At one point, he stands on the pole of where the turnbuckle is. He stands on the pole and does an elbow drop onto Drew through the table. That was
really good.
Yeah.
Before that, Ziggler does a famous off the announcer's table, and then Drew does like a springboard thing, throwing Ziggler into the plexiglass. They were really good as well.
Yeah. One of the chair shots when he was hitting them to Drew as well, he hit like the top of the shoulder, which felt looked real good because like obviously they can't do chair shots to the head anymore.
Yeah.
But you could easily hit someone in the shoulder and make it look like a chair shot to the head.
Yeah. It still looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Drew goes to do the Claymore, and Ziggler counters by hitting Drew in the knee with the steel chair, and then he hits a zigzag. I thought that was really good, taking out obviously his biggest move, or trying to at least.
Yeah. And then getting towards the end of the match, Ziggler's getting frustrated that he can't beat McIntyre.
Yeah, because he does the famous the zigzag and then slams him onto a steel chair. And then Drew kicks out and Ziggler shouts, "Why won't you die?"
Yeah, this made me think of Austin Powers, actually. I don't know if you've seen the second Austin Powers film. So there's a scene where he's talking to this woman, and then a guy goes to throw a knife at Austin Powers, and he moves, and it hits the girl, and then he starts shooting him, but he hits the girl, and then he hits Austin Powers with a bazooka, but it hits the girl, and then they both fly out of a building, fall to the floor, and the girl goes, "You can't win Powers," and Austin Powers goes, "Why can't you just die?"
I do think I know what you mean. Yeah.
That just made me think of that. It is probably funnier if you watch it than me explaining.
I do. I have seen Austin Powers. I think we watched it together.
I don't think we have. I think we might have watched the first one together, but I don't think we watched the second one or the third one together.
Oh, okay. Anyway, and then so
we're going to be together 9 years, Nelly.
So Ziggler snaps and he's shouting all sorts, and then Drew hits him with a massive claymore for the win.
I like the way how he kicked up and then did it like real quick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
got it.
I thought it was a real good finish to a match.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was a good match. The commentators really annoyed me, as I said earlier. I thought it made Drew look really, really strong. But Ziggler, didn't look great. But he never does. He always sort of,
He's always put in these matches where we all know he's not going to win.
Yeah, and like he does, like as I said, he does the famouser and the zigzag, and then throws. I can't remember what move it was. Ziggler onto a steel chair. Drew onto a steel chair, and then Drew still kicks out, and it's like, well, those two are like his two big moves and something else, and you can't put him down, and then Drew wins with one claymore.
Yeah, well, hopefully they're trying to put over the claymore as this devastating finishing move.
Which, yeah, I totally get that's what they're doing. I just always feel a bit.
Because that's one thing that annoys me about wrestling at the moment. Like, people just seem to can kick out of anything.
Yeah.
Like, Hogan's finishing move used to be a leg drop. Like, and I think Harley Race's finishing move was a suplex.
Yeah.
But now you can do 18 super kicks and still kick out if you're Johnny Gargano or Adam Cole.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. But Ziggler always sort of gets a bit squashed.
Because if people kick out of your finishing move, why is it called a finishing move?
Yeah. It's not really, is it?
No.
It's not finishing.
It's just a move.
It is just a move. Anyway, more ads again.
With WWEshop.com.
Yep, also
40% off championship belts.
Do you get commission off this or something that I don't know about? You keep advertising the WWE
I
shop.
just remember the adverts.
All right, okay. And we're coming to a final match of the night. It is Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman in the Swamp Fight.
Yeah, and there is actually no timestamp for this. I have not forgotten for this match. They just don't give you a time frame for this match.
So what did you think to this match?
It wasn't my favourite cinematic match that they've done, to be honest. It's not. I don't think it's the worst neither.
What do you think the worst is?
Oh, it's probably one of the NXT ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
It would either be Adam Cole versus Dream or Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
I was thinking that segment with the Street Profits, and which wasn't even really a match, was it? With the ninjas and all that.
Yeah, but at least in that one, there was high points and low points, whereas the Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano one just felt like a wrestling match, but tried to make into a film, if you know what I mean. Where I don't know, to me that was probably my least favourite one of them all. Even though I do really like Ciampa and Gargano, but for me that's probably my least favourite one of the ones that I've seen.
Fair enough. So I thought this match started off. I really enjoyed the beginning of it, and then I didn't enjoy the end at all. Like I felt like it got like
it kind of lost pace as it went on.
Yeah. So it starts off with Braun he turns up at the swamp, and there's Bray Wyatt in the chair, and then he disappears, and there's a sign saying something rather, and then
abandon all hope, I think it's
something like that, yeah. And then Braun gets attacked by people who are wearing like these hood things, and it cuts to Bray being a cheerleader. Thoroughly enjoyed that.
You see, like, this made me think of Aladdin.
How does this make you think of Aladdin?
Because when Aladdin's fighting Jafar, the genie comes up with a little cheerleader and is like, Jafar, here's our man. You can't do it, right?
Uh-huh.
You don't remember that, do you?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that made me think of Aladdin.
Okay. So that was really funny.
Or the genie out of Aladdin, should I say.
Anyway. Then Braun sees himself, his old self, with the sheep mask. There's like two of them, obviously. And he gets hit by a shovel and he blacks out. And then he wakes back up and he's tied to the rocking chair inside like the shed. And old school old school Bray Wyatt in his little Hawaiian shirt and the lamp walks towards Braun, welcoming him home back.
Do you know what I thought would be really good here?
What?
If like Nicholas came down on like a rope or something and like drop kicked Bray Wyatt and saved Braun Strowman, like as a superhero or something. As Batman from the 90s.
Oh, be quiet, you. So I really...
In his yellow
shut up. Yeah, and he's saying, he's sort of cutting a promo into him saying, like, look what I've done here, and do you like the welcome home, and blah, 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 and I just think Bray is just such a good actor, isn't he? Like, he just...
Oh, yeah.
What he does with his character and everything.
The strange thing is, looking back to October time, we had The Fiend versus Seth Rollins, and like everyone went crazy with the finish and things. 6 or 7 months later, the best two characters in WWE, in my opinion, are probably male, and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Seth Rollins now.
Yeah, good point. Yes, I really enjoyed this bit, and he's doing, talking to him and stuff like that. And then after this bit, Braun gets cut out of the chains. Is that right? Or gets unlocked?
No, after this, Braun gets bitten by a snake.
That's it. Sorry.
So a woman who you assume to be Sister Abigail comes in with a snake, and it bites Braun. And then he's outside near a fire, and he beats up a load of guys and sets one on fire.
Who are these guys?
I have no idea. This kind of felt like a fight scene out of a movie, really.
Yeah.
Especially when some of them had face masks on and then one didn't. I thought, this is like, makes me think more of like a fight scene where it was like, oh, this is actually, like a game where you can't see people's face and then one does, and you're like, oh, this is like the boss of this level or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Alexa Bliss is the person who you think is Sister Abigail, telling Braun to come home, that he's always wanted her and he needs to come home.
Yeah, so it's like enticing, like, we always want to be together. So he walks towards Alexa Bliss. There's all this smoke, and Bray comes out the smoke and attacks him.
She could have been talking to anyone.
And then, so they have a bit of a fight, and Braun chokeslams Bray, onto a boat, and then the boat ends up being drifted off into the water, which I thought was really funny because the boat did look like it was on the water when he chokeslammed into it, and then magically it was.
Yeah.
And then it is, and the boat then starts going back to him, and it's empty, and Braun is like walked down to that salt water to look into that boat, and then obviously, Bray jumps out the water with a paddle and starts attacking Braun, and tries to drown him.
Yeah, so he gets beaten down. Bray pulls him in. Bray pulls him down into the water and beats him down. Like the logo comes up and you think it's over, doesn't it? Because you said, "Oh, is that it?"
Yeah. And I kind of think from the boat bit, this is why I didn't really enjoy it, because it just sort of seemed a bit jaggedy, really. Like, because what happens is it comes out the water, attacks him with the paddle. Then you think he's drowned, and then he climbs up onto the jetty, and then they go back into the water again and start fighting. And it's just all a bit. I just felt a bit all over the place. But then at the end, I did enjoy the end when the Fiend comes up.
Yeah, the water goes all red, and then the Fiend appears.
Yeah.
To close the show.
So I'm not even sure who won that match.
Well, it says Bray Wyatt defeated the Braun Strowman in the Wyatt Swamp fight, but it doesn't give you any description why he won.
Yeah.
Did he drown him and then he won, or?
I don't really get how he won or whatever. But I did, obviously, I expected the Fiend to appear in this match.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I thought it was really creepy. The Fiend scares me anyway. That character and that face.
I do think when, on a pay-per-view, when the champion has a non-title match, it gives away that they're not winning.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah. And you kind of knew that he wasn't going to win anyway because you wanted to see Braun and Fiend.
Yeah. You got to think it's going to be Braun and Fiend at SummerSlam.
Yeah, definitely. Really enjoyed the beginning of this match. I guess I enjoyed it when you could see Bray being his character, and as soon as they started wrestling, I got a bit zoned out, really. But But I am looking forward to seeing The Fiend versus Braun Strowman, see what they do there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is it for the show. What was your high points and low points?
My high point would be Sasha Banks and Asuka. That was my favourite match. I originally thought it was going to be Nikki Cross and Bayley because I really enjoyed. I think the two women's matches were both my two high points. I think I really enjoyed both of them. My least favourite match would be the tag team match, the beginning match. Not that it was a bad match, but I just think the other ones just outshone it for me.
It's nice to have a WWE pay-per-view and there not be a bad match on the show.
Yeah, there wasn't one that I think, oh god, that's definitely not the worst one. It's more like these are so good, and that this was just sort of.
I think each match had the right amount of time as well. There's not one match that went overly long and you thought,
yeah,
I'm ready for this to end.
Yeah. No, I think they did a really good balance of this pay-per-view. So, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
What about you?
For an eye. That's not where I was going, but I think I really did enjoy Seth Rollins and Rey. So probably that match or Asuka and Bayley. Asuka and Banks.
Yeah.
I think I will rewatch that match at some point. Definitely.
Yeah.
Low points. Like I said, there's not one match I didn't enjoy.
You had to pick one low point though.
If I was going to pick one low point, it would be advertising Apollo Crews and MVP and then saying Apollo Crews is there but then not showing him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
if I had to pick up one thing, it's probably that.
I think they could have handled that a bit better, couldn't they?
Yeah.
I
don't understand why we say someone's there but then
like,
not showing him.
He's here and he really wants to do it, he really wants to fight, blah blah blah, but he's not medically cleared.
Say Bobby Lashley beat him up backstage or something. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's probably my low point for the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, have you got anything to add to the end of the podcast or?
No, I'm really looking forward to watching SmackDown and Raw this week. Now, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't actually always get to watch it in the mornings. But I think I'm definitely going to make an effort this week to come to watch it with you. Because I am looking forward to seeing, especially what they do with Sasha and Bayley and all that sort of storyline. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah.
He's really thinking here. You can see it in his face. The clogs are turning.
The one thing I do think about this show, not just in general, just WWE at the moment, there's not been a lot of Otis and Mandy Rose on the shows recently. I assume that's going to be coronavirus related.
Yeah.
But I think for me that's something that I've missed on wrestling recently. But I had to add one thing onto the show today.
Actually, I do think another low point, the name of the show and the whole we were talking about earlier about the
horror show.
The horror show and sort of wasting the Halloween theme.
Yeah.
But that's not.
It's just
massive.
them trying to do something different and trying to get people to watch it in these pandemic times.
Yeah.
So that was it from the podcast show today. The man.
Should we try that again? Because I'm not the man. You are.
I was just waiting to see if you answered it.
Try that again.
So that is it from the Man
and the Wife
podcast. If this is your first time you've listened to a podcast, go and watch listen even some of the other ones on the channel. Yesterday we reviewed Extreme Rules from 2016. We have an Owen Hart episode. There is Backlash 2009. We've done last month's Backlash as well. So yeah, there's plenty of other podcasts out there on the channel as well. We've got Fun with Figures episodes going up on Mondays and Fridays. We have a watch along on a Saturday, and we have 2K20 stuff going up every day. So yeah, that is it from the Man Games today. Thank you for listening.